So at this time, my name is Will Rogers. I am the site Caucus captain, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all here this evening. And thank you so much for braving the cold weather and coming out tonight for tonight's Caucus event. So, with that being said, I'd like to start this evening with the invocation, and I'd like to invite Rabbi Emily Barton to please come and give our invocation this evening.
Grant to our country the will and wherewithal to fulfill its calling to justice, liberty, and equality. May each of us fulfill our responsibilities of citizenship with care, generosity, and gratitude, ever conscious of the extraordinary blessing of freedom, ever mindful of our duties to one another. Bless those who volunteer to labor on behalf of us all. May they find the strength and courage to complete their tasks and fulfill their dreams. May our judges, elected leaders, and all who hold public office exercise their responsibilities with wisdom, fairness, and justice for all. Fill them with love and kindness, and bless them that they may walk with integrity on the paths of peace and righteousness. Creator and protector of all, watch over our armed forces and all those entrusted with our safety as they daily put their lives at risk to protect us and our freedoms. Be with them in times of danger. Give them courage to act with honor and dignity, as well as insight to do what is right in your eyes. Fill us all with the gifts of love and courage, that we may create a world that reflects your glory. May we each respond to the charge of the prophet, for what does Adonai, or what does God demand of you? But to act justly, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. May the one who brings peace on earth bring peace and prosperity to our world, and keep us in safety. And let us say, Amen.
Amen. If you'd please rise at this time, I'm going to invite Todd Jacobus, he's a retired colonel from the Iowa National Guard, to join us to give the Pledge of Allegiance. And he sat way in the back and got in the middle of the row somehow. Please help me welcome Todd.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. So the way we're going to run our caucus tonight, we're going to actually have the candidate. This wonderful microphone. Give me a moment. Need a better microphone. So our first guest tonight is going to be Ambassador Nikki Haley. She's going to talk about her campaign.
Thank you so much. Well, hello, happy Caucus Day. Thank you for getting out in the cold. I will tell you, it has been an amazing 11 months. Getting to know you, getting to listen to you, getting to hear you, getting to answer your questions. And after all those 11 months, we learned a lot from our farmers. We learned a lot from our small businesses. We learned a lot from Iowans. I started out as an accountant. And I ran as a Tea Party candidate and became governor of a state that had 11% unemployment. We were the butt of the jokes. We had thousands of people on welfare. But we got to work. And what we did was we dropped that 11% unemployment down to 4%. We did the toughest illegal immigration law in the country. We passed tort reform. We passed pension reform. We did voter ID. We made sure that we were taking care of paying down our debt, filling up our coffers. But more than that, we were named the most patriotic state in the country when we were done. We were an economic powerhouse. We started building planes with Boeing, more BMWs than any place in the world. We brought in Mercedes-Benz. We brought in Volvo. 5 international tire companies, and we were known as the beast of the Southeast. But the main thing is when South Carolina was in crisis and could have fallen apart, Whether it was the white supremacists that came in and killed 9 amazing souls at a church, whether it was a school shooting, or an African-American man that was shot 7 times in the back by a dirty cop, we didn't have protests, we had prayer. We didn't have riots, we had vigils, and we healed. Then I went to the United Nations, and I made a point to make sure that we told countries what America was for, what America was against. I didn't care if they didn't like me, but I wanted them to respect America. And we got to work, and we showed the world what strong America could look like. But the biggest thing we did was we took the kick me sign off of our backs, and America was respected again at the UN. Now I'm running for president, and you don't have to turn on the news. Bad. Is it there? Are you going to give me another one? Whether it's the reckless spending we see coming out of Republicans and Democrats in Washington, and the enormous amount of debt that our kids will never forgive us for, whether it's the fact that only 31% of 8th graders in our country are proficient, only 27% of 8th graders are proficient in math, whether it's the fact that we are seeing lawlessness on our border that doesn't even look like the United States of America anymore, whether it's lawlessness in our streets, or the fact that the world is on fire and America feels vulnerable. Our country is in a disarray, and the world is on fire. But it doesn't have to be this way. We can do better. But we have to acknowledge some hard truths. Republicans have lost the last 7 out of 8 popular votes for president. That's nothing to be proud of. We should want to win the majority of Americans. But the only way we're going to win the majority of Americans is if we have a new generational leader that leaves the negativity and chaos of the past and moves forward with new solutions for the future. You don't defeat Democrat chaos with Republican. You know, there are a lot of head-to-head polls, and the one thing that keeps me up at night is what happens between now and Election Day. And God help us if we ever get a President Kamala Harris, because we won't survive it. In every one of those head-to-head polls against Biden, I defeat Biden by double digits, even 17 points in the Wall Street Journal poll. Do you know what that means? That's bigger than the presidency. That's governorships, that's House, that's Senate, that's school boards. But more than that, you win with a double-digit win over Biden going into D.C. That's a mandate to stop the out-of-control spending and get our economy back on track. That's a mandate to get our kids reading again and go back to the basics and require them to say the Pledge of Allegiance when they start school every day. That's a mandate to secure our borders with no more excuses. That's a mandate to bring law and order back to our country. And that's a mandate that is strong, where our military men and women know that we're out there trying to prevent war, not start war. That's what we can have. That's the kind of America we can have. You know, 6 months ago, I'm the proud wife of a combat veteran. My husband served in Afghanistan. 6 months ago, I dropped my husband Michael off at 4 a.m. for another year-long deployment. And I watched him and 230 soldiers pick up their 2 duffel bags of belongings to go to a country they'd never been, all in the name of protecting America. They're willing to sacrifice their lives and their families because they still believe in this amazing experiment that is America. So if they're willing to sacrifice for us there, shouldn't we be willing to fight for America here? Because we have a country to save. But in order to save her, it's going to take a lot of courage. Courage from every Iowan. Courage from everyone here. Courage for me to run and courage for every one of you to know, don't complain about what happens in a general election if you don't really focus on what we do in this caucus. Someone asked me when I announced why I was running. I said my parents came here 50 years ago to an America that was strong and proud and full of opportunities. I want them to know that country again. I'm doing this for my husband Michael and his military brothers and sisters. They need to know their sacrifice matters. They need to know that we love our country. I'm doing this for my daughter who just got married, and I saw how hard it was for her and her husband to buy a home. The average home buyer in America now is 49 years old. The American dream is leaving them. And I'm doing this for my son who's a senior in college, and I am tired of watching him write papers of things he doesn't believe in just to get an A. That's not us. That's not America. And for the first time, 81% of Americans don't think their kids are going to live as good of a life as we did. We can't be okay with that. I'm not okay with that. We have a country to save. But in order to save her, not only do we need to start getting things back on track, we also need to heal. We also need to stop the chaos. We also need to stop the division. And we need to remember the value that made America great and always focus on the fact that it's faith, family, country. And if we go back to that, if you will bless me with your vote tonight, I promise you, I will spend every day trying to make you proud in the process. I know our best days are ahead. I trust all of you. Iowans do their homework. They know their issues. But more than that, you're patriotic, God-fearing, hard-working Americans. And this is your chance to show the power of your voice. And this is your chance to lead the way to get our country back on track. God bless you. Thank you.